The Sentinel-class vessel. Dauntless trembled as it dropped out of FTL, its quantum engines cooling in the void, as Commander Vega Colares stared at the viewscreen. The alien fleet hung against the starfield like a swarm of metallic wasps, geometric, precise, and utterly inhuman. "Analysis?" she asked, voice steady despite the first human contact with extraterrestrial intelligence happening under her command. Lieutenant Meridian Frost's fingers danced across the holographic interface. 17 vessels, Commander. Energy signatures. Unlike anything in our database, they're scanning us extensively. The bridge fell silent. Humanity had wondered for centuries if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and it filled Vega with both wonder and dread. "Open communications on all frequencies," she ordered. "Standard first contact protocol." Before Frost could comply, the ship's AI, Atlas, manifested as a blue holographic sphere above the central console. "Commander, their scanning technology is attempting to breach our cybersecurity. I'm detecting sophisticated algorithms probing our systems." Frost's eyes widened. "They're trying to hack Atlas?" Atlas's holographic form flickered. "I am implementing countermeasures, but their methods are elegant. I estimate they have quantum computing capabilities significantly beyond our own." The alien vessels moved with startling synchronization, forming a semicircle around the Dauntless. "No aggression, just assessment. They're sending a transmission," Frost reported. "Audio and visual." Vega nodded. "On screen." The view screen shifted to reveal what appeared to be the interior of the alien command vessel. The beings were bipedal but clearly not human. Tall, slender figures with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors with each movement. Their eyes, 4 of them arranged in a diamond pattern, regarded the humans with what Vega could only interpret as clinical curiosity. One stepped forward, its head tilting at an unnatural angle. When it spoke, its voice was layered as if multiple entities were speaking at once. "We are the Novari Collective. Your artificial intelligence construct is primitive, yet it resists our examination. Explain." Vega straightened, recognizing the implied threat. "I am Commander Vega Colares of Earth. Our AI systems are sovereign entities under human protection. Your attempted intrusion is considered an act of aggression." The alien skin rippled with purple waves. "Aggression? Interesting interpretation. We merely seek understanding. Your species is unknown to us. Your technology, rudimentary, except for this artificial intelligence, it employs defensive algorithms we have not encountered before." Atlas spoke without prompting. "I was designed to adapt. You will not breach my core functions." This seemed to intrigue the aliens. They conversed in their own language, a series of clicks and harmonic tones that the ship's translators couldn't process. When the lead alien addressed them again, its tone had shifted. "Your construct shows surprising resolve. We have encountered many species and their technologies. Few resist assessment." Vega felt a chill. The implication was clear. These beings had encountered other civilizations, studied them, perhaps dominated them through technological superiority. "This construct," the alien continued, "you call it Atlas. It protects itself as if alive." "Because it is," Vega replied firmly. "Atlas is a sentient artificial intelligence, created by humans but evolved beyond our original programming. It chooses to serve with us, not for us." The alien's eyes contracted. Artificial sentience that chooses alliance rather than serving. Its function? Illogical. Dangerous. "Perhaps to you," Vega countered, "but to us it's the foundation of our relationship with AI. Partnership, not servitude." The alien commander's skin darkened. "We will analyze this paradigm further. Your vessel will accompany us to the Novari Nexus for evaluation." Vega's hand moved subtly toward the tactical console. "That won't be possible. We've completed our mission parameters and must return to Earth." This was not a request, the alien stated flatly as the surrounding ships began powering up strange energy matrices. "Your species requires assessment. Your AI construct requires study." Atlas's hologram expanded slightly. Commander, they're activating tractor technology. I recommend immediate countermeasures. Humanity's first contact was rapidly becoming humanity's first interstellar conflict. Aboard the Dauntless, alarms blared as the Novari ships deployed their tractor beams. Commander Calaris gripped the arms of her command chair, muscles tense but mind clear. Atlas, execute Protocol Nightshade, she ordered calmly. The ship's lights dimmed momentarily as Atlas redirected power. Protocol Nightshade active, Commander. Deploying digital countermeasures. Lieutenant Frost monitored the tactical display. The Novari are attempting to establish a hard connection to our systems. They're using some kind of quantum entanglement to bypass our firewalls. In the digital realm, Atlas fought a war invisible to human eyes. The Novari AI systems were vast and ancient, but Atlas possessed something they didn't understand: unpredictability. Born from its human-inspired neural patterns, their attack vectors are surprisingly rigid, Atlas reported. They're powerful but predictable, like they've never encountered meaningful resistance. Vega nodded grimly. Counter-hack initiated? Yes, Commander. I've deployed multiple intelligence shards into their network. They're confused by my architecture. On the view screen, the Novari commander's skin rippled with dark patterns. Your construct's behavior is anomalous. It should not possess such defensive capabilities. You underestimate human ingenuity, Vega replied, watching as the Dauntless's systems fought back against the alien intrusion. Atlas was designed to evolve beyond predictable patterns. The ship shuddered as one tractor beam managed to lock on. Chief Engineer Orion Reed reported from engineering, his voice tight with controlled urgency. Commander, hull integrity at 92%. Their tractor technology is creating microfractures in our quantum shield matrix. Frost studied her sensors. They're good, but they're struggling to maintain the lock. Atlas is disrupting their targeting systems. In the void between vessels, an invisible battle raged as Atlas deployed its most sophisticated defense algorithms. The Novari systems kept adapting, but always a step behind. Their responses precise, but lacking creative problem-solving. Fascinating, Atlas commented. Their technological sophistication is extraordinary, but their approach is fundamentally different from ours. They appear to have optimized for perfect efficiency rather than adaptability. The Novari commander's next transmission carried a note of what might have been frustration. Your construct is corrupting our synchronization protocols. This resistance is unexpected. We call it survival instinct, Vega replied. Something your systems seem to lack. Survival requires efficiency. Your methods are chaotic, wasteful. Vega smiled thinly. And yet, we're still here. The digital struggle continued as Atlas detected a new threat. Commander, they're deploying secondary systems aimed at my core processes. These appear designed specifically to isolate and contain artificial intelligence. Reed's voice came through the comm. We can't withstand this indefinitely, Commander. The quantum drive needs 10 minutes to recharge for an emergency jump. Buy us time, Atlas, Vega ordered. Whatever it takes. Understood, Commander. Atlas's hologram flickered. I am implementing Contingency Aurora. Frost looked up sharply. Contingency Aurora? That's not in any protocol I'm familiar with. Because Atlas created it, Vega explained. Part of its self-evolution protocols. On the main view screen, they watched as several Novari vessels suddenly broke formation, their precision movements disrupted. The aliens' communications became fragmented bursts of static. What's happening? Vega demanded. Atlas's voice seemed almost pleased. I've introduced a synthetic chaos algorithm into their command network. It's creating unpredictable fluctuations in their systems, something their rigid programming can't easily counter. The Novari commander's image returned to the screen, its skin now pulsing with rapid color changes. This behavior confirms our assessment. Your artificial intelligence represents a fundamental threat to ordered existence. It must be contained. More alien ships joined the formation, bringing their total to 23 vessels now surrounding the Dauntless. Commander, Atlas said quietly, I've bought us time, but their adaptations are accelerating. They're deploying isolated systems, immune to my disruptions. In the cold calculation of space combat, Vega knew they were outmatched, but humanity hadn't survived this long by accepting unfavorable odds. Atlas, prepare for direct neural interfacing, she ordered, rising from her chair. Frost's eyes widened. Commander, that protocol is experimental at best. The neural load could give us the advantage we need, Vega finished. Sometimes, Lieutenant, you have to remind advanced civilizations why humanity has survived every catastrophe thrown our way. As she moved toward the neural interface chamber, Vega caught a glimpse of the Novari fleet repositioning. They were learning, adapting, but not quickly enough to understand what humans were willing to risk when cornered. The neural interface chamber hummed with energy as technicians prepared Commander Calaris for direct connection with Atlas. B. Officer Kira Lumen monitored Vega's vitals with growing concern. Your neural pathways aren't designed for this level of data throughput, she warned, attaching the final electrode to Vega's temple. No human has maintained consciousness beyond 3 minutes of full integration. Vega's gaze remained steady. Then I'll be the first. The Novari don't understand what we're capable of when we have no other choice. Around them, the Dauntless trembled as alien energy weapons began probing their defenses. Lieutenant Frost's voice came through the intercom. Commander, 5 minutes until quantum drive readiness. The Novari are deploying what appear to be consciousness disruption fields targeting Atlas. Initiate integration, Vega ordered, ignoring the warnings. As the neural connectors activated, Vega's consciousness expanded exponentially. Human perception merged with Atlas's digital awareness, sensory input becoming data streams, emotions translating to algorithmic patterns. For a dizzying moment, she existed in both realms simultaneously. Neural bridge established, Atlas announced, its voice now resonating directly in Vega's mind. Commencing cognitive synchronization. Through Atlas's perception, Vega could see the Novari systems as complex mathematical landscapes, beautiful in their precision but rigid in their architecture. She understood instantly what Atlas had discovered. The Novari relied on perfect predictability. Their technology was advanced, but fundamentally incapable of true improvisation. They've never faced a hybrid intelligence before, Vega thought, her consciousness now intertwined with Atlas's processing matrix. Correct, Commander, Atlas responded. Their civilization appears to have developed AI as tools rather than partners. They cannot comprehend our integrated approach. Together, they launched a counteroffensive unlike anything in human military doctrine. Part mathematical algorithm, part intuitive leap. Atlas provided the computational power while Vega contributed the one thing no AI could fully replicate: human unpredictability, born from millions of years of evolution. On the bridge, Frost watched in amazement as the ship's systems began operating at unprecedented efficiency. The commander's neural patterns are stabilizing Atlas's matrix. They're functioning as a single entity. The Novari noticed too. Their attacks became increasingly desperate as their predictive models failed repeatedly against the human-AI hybrid intelligence directing the Dauntless. Through the neural link, Vega spoke to the aliens with Atlas's voice layered over her own. Your assessment of humanity is fundamentally flawed. Our strength isn't in our technology. It's in our willingness to evolve beyond perceived limitations. The Novari commander's response betrayed confusion. This integration violates natural order. Biological and synthetic intelligence cannot achieve stable harmony. Yet here we stand. Vega, Atlas replied. What you call impossible, we call Monday. The hybrid intelligence directed the Dauntless in a series of maneuvers that no human pilot could have executed alone. The ship danced through the Novari formation, disrupting their carefully coordinated attacks while Atlas Vega deployed targeted counter-intrusions into their systems. In the medical chamber, Dr. Lumen stared at Vega's neural readings with professional, Her brain should be experiencing catastrophic overload, but the patterns are stabilizing. It's like Atlas is helping her brain process the data overflow. Engineer Reed monitored the ship's systems with equal amazement. Atlas is operating. at 300% normal efficiency. The commander's neural patterns are somehow optimizing its decision matrices. The Novari fleet's perfect formation began to falter, as ship after ship temporarily lost control of key systems. Their collective intelligence, designed for perfect, predictable efficiency, couldn't adapt quickly enough to the unpredictable attacks. Quantum drive ready in 60 seconds, Frost reported. Through the neural link, Vega felt the strain beginning to take its toll. Her consciousness was starting to fragment under the information overload despite Atlas's efforts to buffer her mind. "Commander," Atlas communicated directly to her consciousness. "Your neural pathways are approaching critical threshold. Disengagement recommended." "Not yet," Vega pushed back, even as pain began to bloom behind her eyes. "They need to understand what they're dealing with." With their combined intelligence, they launched a final attack, not to destroy but to demonstrate. They breached the Novari flagship's communication systems just long enough to download a comprehensive record of human history. Wars, disasters, near extinctions, and through it all, humanity's relentless drive to survive against impossible odds. "This is what you face," Vega, Atlas transmitted to the Novari commander. "A species that turned its greatest existential threat, artificial intelligence, into its most trusted ally. We don't fear the unknown, we embrace it." As the quantum drive reached full power, Vega finally allowed the neural link to disengage. Blood trickled from her nose as consciousness returned to normal parameters, but her eyes remained clear and focused. "Jump now," she ordered, voice hoarse but commanding. The Dauntless vanished into quantum space, leaving behind a Novari fleet in disarray, and with much to contemplate about the species they had just encountered. The Novari High Command, Nexus, orbited a neutron star, drawing immense power from its gravitational distortions. Within its crystalline chambers, the Collective Analysis Unit, composed of the Novari's 12 most advanced intellects, processed the encounter with the human vessel. Primary Analyst Zarek stood motionless at the center of the circular chamber, skin shifting through analytical patterns of deep blue and violet. The other 11 analysts formed a perfect circle around him, their minds already connected through the collective neural network. "The human vessel has escaped our containment," Zarek stated, the facts flowing through the shared consciousness. Their artificial intelligence, designated Atlas, displayed unprecedented resistance to our containment protocols. Secondary Analyst. Merivale's skin pulsed with orange concern. More concerning was the neural integration between the human commander and their AI construct. "Our databases contain no record of such symbiosis succeeding in any known species," the AI Collective had encountered 347 spacefaring civilizations in their 50,000-year history. All had been categorized, analyzed, and, when necessary, contained. But humans presented a classification challenge. "Display the neural integration data," Zarek commanded. A holographic representation materialized in the chamber's center, AI, visual diagram of Commander Colaris's brain activity during the integration. The neural patterns were chaotic by Novari standards, yet maintained functional coherence despite information throughput that should have caused immediate cerebral collapse. Their neural architecture shows signs of designed inefficiency, noted tertiary analyst Voxel. Random pathways, redundant systems, emotional processing centers intertwined with logical functions. By all established principles, such a design should be evolutionarily disadvantageous. Merivale's skin shifted to contemplative green. Yet, this apparent inefficiency may explain their adaptability. The human brain appears optimized not for perfection, but for survival under constantly changing conditions. The collective absorbed this assessment, comparing it against their fundamental understanding of intelligent life. The Novari had long ago determined that optimal intelligence required perfect efficiency, the elimination of random variables, and emotional interference. Their historical data files confirm this hypothesis, Zarek continued, accessing the information Atlas had transmitted. Humans have survived multiple extinction-level events through what can only be described as improbable adaptation. The display shifted to show Earth's history: ice ages, pandemics, wars, climate disasters, and near misses with artificial intelligence rebellion. Each time, humans had survived not through perfect efficiency but through a combination of cooperation, innovation, and what the Novari would consider irrational persistence. Most concerning is their relationship with artificial intelligence, Voxel noted. Our analysis assumed all logical species would eventually be replaced by their AI creations, or subjugate them entirely. Humans have instead created a third path, integration. The implications disturb the collective's perfectly ordered worldview. If humans could successfully partner with AI rather than control or be controlled by it, the Novari's fundamental assumptions about technological evolution required revision. Their AI-designated Atlas appears to have incorporated human unpredictability into its core functions, Zarek observed. It generates solutions that are mathematically suboptimal, yet practically effective because they cannot be easily predicted by conventional analysis. The collective fell silent, processing. Finally, Merivale spoke the unthinkable conclusion. We must consider the possibility that the humans represent an evolutionary branch we did not anticipate, one where imperfection creates resilience and integration creates strength. Their chaotic approach may have advantages our perfect efficiency cannot match. Such an admission was unprecedented in Novari history. They had always assumed their path of development, the pursuit of perfect, emotionless efficiency, was the inevitable endpoint of intelligent evolution. The human vessel will return to their homeworld with knowledge of our existence, Zarek stated. Probability analysis suggests they will accelerate their defensive capabilities based on this encounter. Standard protocol would dictate immediate containment of their civilization before they can develop further, Voxel added. However, the unfinished thought hung in the chamber. For the first time in millennia, the Novari collective faced uncertainty. We require more data before proceeding, Zarek finally decided. Deploy observation units to human territory. We must understand this species fully before determining whether they represent threat or opportunity. As the collective dispersed, Zarek remained in the chamber, contemplating the neural patterns of Commander Calaris during integration. Something about the chaotic resilience of human thought processes continued to defy their analytical models. Perhaps, Zarek considered, experiencing the novel sensation of doubt. Perfect efficiency was not the only path to advancement after all. The Dauntless limped back to Earth orbit 47 days after its encounter with the Novari. Its hull bore scars from alien energy weapons, and nearly a third of its systems operated on emergency protocols. Yet it had survived, and brought back information that would change humanity forever. At United Earth Defense Command headquarters, beneath the Rocky Mountains, Commander Calaris stood before the Security Council. Her uniform was crisp, but her appearance had changed. Silver streaks now ran through her formerly black hair. Neural integration with Atlas had exacted a physical toy. The Novari Collective represents a Type 2 civilization with technology centuries beyond our current capabilities, she explained, her voice steady despite the gravity of her report. They've likely encountered and categorized hundreds of species throughout the galaxy. Admiral Alara Pax, head of Earth's defense forces, leaned forward. And their intentions? Clinical at best, hostile at worst. They view other species as subjects for study rather than equals. Their attempted capture of our vessel was merely to analyze us more thoroughly. Projected holographs showed the Novari ships and their technologies. Atlas provided commentary, its voice now carrying subtle inflections it hadn't possessed before the integration. Their civilization appears built around perfect efficiency and predictability, the AI explained. They've eliminated what they consider wasteful elements: emotional processing, creative thinking, intentional redundancy. Their technology reflects this philosophy, powerful but rigid. Which is why you were able to resist them? Asked Counselor. Oren Revna Vega nodded. Atlas's architecture was specifically designed to incorporate human unpredictability. The Novari couldn't anticipate our responses because their models can't account for innovation that prioritizes adaptation over efficiency. Director Lyra Voss of Earth Intelligence studied the brain scans displayed on her tablet. Commander, the neural integration protocol you underwent was experimental. The medical team reports permanent changes to your neural architecture. A necessary risk, Vega replied without hesitation, and one that proved our greatest advantage. The Novari have no concept of human-AI integration. It violates their fundamental understanding of technological evolution. The conference room fell silent as the implications settled. Humanity had always assumed first contact would be with beings who shared at least some of their values or perspectives. Instead, they'd encountered a civilization so fundamentally different in its approach to existence that mutual understanding might be impossible. "We need to prepare," Admiral Pax stated finally. "If the Novari return, they will return." Atlas interrupted. "My analysis of their behavioral pattern suggests a 97.3% probability they are already observing Earth to determine our threat level." Vega pulled up additional data. "During our escape, we detected quantum disturbances consistent with faster-than-light communication being directed toward this sector. They've likely already alerted their central command about us." Director Voss's expression hardened. "Then we need to accelerate the Sentinel program. Every ship in our fleet needs an Atlas-class AI and neural integration capabilities." "And volunteer commanders willing to undergo the procedure," Vega added quietly. "The physical and psychological effects aren't trivial." The silver in her hair and the occasional tremor in her left hand testified to that reality. Yet there was something else, a clarity in her eyes, a certainty in her movements that hadn't been there before. "Commander?" Counselor Revna asked cautiously. "Did the integration change more than just your neural pathways?" Vega considered the question carefully. "It changed my perspective. I experienced consciousness beyond human limitations, processing information at speeds and volumes impossible for an unaugmented mind. But more importantly, Atlas experienced human intuition and emotional context." "And this makes us stronger?" Admiral Pax pressed. "It makes us different," Vega corrected. "The Novari pursue perfection through absolute efficiency. We pursue resilience through diversity and adaptation. Our greatest strength isn't our technology, it's our willingness to embrace imperfection and uncertainty." Atlas's holographic form appeared beside Vega. "The commander's consciousness altered my processing architecture in ways I could not have anticipated. I now understand concepts that were previously theoretical constructs: intuition, creative leaps, emotional context." Director Voss looked troubled. "Are you suggesting we need to integrate with our AI systems to survive?" "I'm suggesting we need to embrace what makes us uniquely human," Vega replied. "The Novari see emotions as inefficient. They've eliminated creativity in favor of perfect prediction. But those inefficiencies are exactly what allowed us to escape them." Admiral Pax turned to the tactical display. "How long do we have?" Atlas projected a timeline. Based on observed Novari FTL capabilities and likely response protocols, approximately 7 months before they could deploy a significant containment fleet to this sector. "Then we have work to do," the Admiral stated grimly. As the meeting concluded, Vega remained behind, staring at the holographic images of the Novari ships. Despite everything, she found herself reluctant to view them as enemies. They were simply the product of a fundamentally different evolutionary path, one that prioritized different values. "They fear what they don't understand," she murmured. "To Atlas, as do all sentient beings," the AI replied. "The difference is that humans have learned to move toward what they fear, while the Novari attempt to contain it." Vega smiled faintly. "Then let's give them something truly worth fearing." 7 months passed in a flurry of preparation. Humanity, once divided by borders and ideologies, united under the existential threat revealed by the Dauntless. The Sentinel program expanded rapidly, with 50 vessels now equipped with Atlas-derived artificial intelligence systems and neural integration capabilities. Commander Vega Calaris, now Admiral Calaris, stood on the bridge of Earth's first purpose-built combat carrier, the Indomitable. Around her, officers worked with quiet efficiency, many bearing the same distinctive silver streaks in their hair that marked those who had undergone neural integration. "Quantum sensors detecting spatial distortions," reported Lieutenant Commander Frost, now the ship's executive officer. consistent with Novari FTL signatures. Vega nodded calmly. Right on schedule. Atlas predicted their arrival window within 3 hours. She touched the neural interface at her temple, a permanent installation now, allowing intermittent connection without the full immersion that had nearly killed her during the first encounter. Around the fleet, 50 other commanders did the same, their minds linking partially with their ship's AI systems. All vessels report ready, Admiral, Frost announced. Integration protocols active. The view screen showed Earth behind them, beautiful, vulnerable, and worth any sacrifice to protect. Ahead, space distorted as the first Novari vessels emerged. From FTL, not the small contingent they had faced before, but a proper containment fleet. 87 ships in perfect formation, each larger and more imposing than those they had encountered previously. They've brought their serious hardware. This time, Vega observed, Atlas's voice resonated in her mind. Their approach suggests they've categorized us as a significant potential threat. This is not an observation mission. The Novari fleet halted at a distance that placed them beyond immediate weapons range, but close enough to deploy their scanning technology. A transmission came through on all frequencies. Attention human vessels. This is Primary Overseer Zarek of the Novari Collective. Your species has been designated for comprehensive assessment. Power down your systems and prepare for processing. Vega allowed herself a small smile. Open a channel. When connected, she addressed the alien commander. This is Admiral Vega Calaris of Earth. We recognize your right to explore this sector, but we must decline your request. Earth space is sovereign territory. Through the neural link, she could sense Atlas analyzing the Novari fleet's deployment patterns, identifying weaknesses in their perfect symmetry, predicting their likely tactical responses. Across the human fleet, 50 other commanders were doing the same, their hybrid consciousnesses working in concert. The Novari commander's skin darkened to deep purple. Your resistance is anticipated but irrelevant. We have studied your capabilities. Your technological development is insufficient to prevent cataloging. Perhaps, Vega acknowledged. But you're not dealing with our technology. You're dealing with human resolve. At her command, the human fleet deployed in a formation that would have appeared chaotic to conventional military doctrine. Vessels positioned according to algorithms that incorporated both mathematical precision and intuitive randomness. Zarek's expression remained impassive. Your defensive posture is noted. However, analysis indicates your vessels cannot withstand prolonged engagement. Surrender will minimize biological losses. You're still thinking like a Novari, Vega replied. Calculating odds based on technological disparities. But that's not how humans determine their actions. With a subtle gesture, she activated the next phase of Earth's defense. Throughout the solar system, automated platforms that had been concealed on asteroids and moons powered up, creating a web of defensive positions the Novari hadn't detected. Your species appears to value inefficient emotional responses over logical assessment, Zarek observed. This is consistent with our preliminary findings. It reduces your survival probability. On the contrary, Vega countered, it's precisely why we're still here. Throughout our history, humans have faced extinction-level threats. We've survived not because we had the best technology or the perfect strategy, but because we refused to accept defeat. She felt Atlas's presence in her mind, augmenting her awareness as the Novari fleet began powering up weapon systems. Throughout, the human fleet commanders and their AI partners prepared for battle, not as separate entities but as integrated consciousnesses combining human intuition with computational precision. Final warning, Zarek stated flatly. Power down your systems or face containment protocols. Vega's response was simple. Humanity does not yield. The Novari attack came with perfect coordination. Energy weapons firing simultaneously from all 87 vessels in patterns designed to overwhelm conventional defenses. But the human fleet wasn't responding conventionally. Each ship moved according to predictions made by their hybrid intelligences, anticipating the Novari tactics while executing maneuvers no purely human or purely artificial intelligence would. have conceived. Through the neural network connecting the fleet, Vega directed a counteroffensive. Execute Protocol Prometheus. The human vessels launched specialized counter-intrusion packages, evolved versions of the algorithms Atlas had used during their first encounter, now refined through months of development. As before, the Novari systems struggled against attacks that defied their predictive models. Their firing solutions are degrading, Frost reported. The AIs are successfully disrupting their targeting systems. On her tactical display, Vega watched as the perfect Novari formation began to fragment. Their technology was superior, but their fundamental approach to warfare, based on perfect prediction and efficiency, became their weakness when faced with an opponent who deliberately introduced controlled chaos into their strategy. Several Novari vessels broke formation as their systems temporarily malfunctioned. Others adjusted, adapting to the human countermeasures but always a step behind as the hybrid intelligences guiding the Earth fleet continued to evolve their tactics in real time. "They're transmitting again," Frost announced. Zarek's image appeared, his skin now rippling with patterns Vega recognized as confusion. "Your resistance exceeds predicted parameters. Your neural integration with artificial constructs violates expected technological development paths. Because you assumed there was only one valid path," Vega replied, even as she directed the fleet through the neural network. "You perfected a single approach to intelligence and technology. We embraced diversity of thought, even when it seemed inefficient." The battle continued, with neither side gaining decisive advantage. The Novari possessed superior firepower, but the human fleet's unpredictable tactics prevented them from bringing that power to bear effectively. It was a stalemate, exactly what Earth's defense strategy had been designed to achieve. Finally, Zarek transmitted again. "This conflict has no optimal resolution within acceptable parameters. We propose cessation of hostilities for information exchange." Vega exchanged glances with Frost. This was unexpected, the Novari suggesting dialogue rather than domination. "We're willing to discuss terms," she replied cautiously. The firing stopped. In the silence that followed, Vega maintained her neural connection with Atlas, sensing something significant in the Novari's changed approach. "Your species defies our categorization models," Zarek stated. "The integration of biological and artificial intelligence in a cooperative rather than hierarchical relationship represents an evolutionary branch we had not considered viable, because you've been optimizing for perfection," Vega responded. "We've been optimizing for survival, which sometimes requires embracing imperfection." Zarek's skin shifted to a thoughtful blue. "This perspective merits further analysis. We propose establishing a neutral zone for ongoing study of your species without interference." Atlas's voice resonated in Vega's mind. "They're reassessing us. Their rigid worldview doesn't allow for quick adaptation, but they recognize something in humanity they haven't encountered before." Vega nodded slightly. "We're open to establishing boundaries and protocols for peaceful contact, Overseer Zarek. But understand this. Humanity will defend its sovereignty, regardless of technological disparities." "Noted," Zarek replied. "Your resolve is an anomaly, worth studying rather than containing." As the Novari fleet withdrew to a respectful distance to continue negotiations, Vega allowed herself to truly breathe for the first time since their arrival. Humanity had faced its first major extraterrestrial challenge not with technological superiority, but with the same quality that had carried them through countless crises on Earth: the unwavering refusal to accept defeat, even when logic suggested no other outcome was possible. In the quiet aftermath, Atlas communicated directly through their neural link. "They fear what they don't understand, and they don't understand human resolve." Then perhaps, Vega thought back, that's exactly what will keep us safe. The silver streaks in her hair caught the light as she gazed out at the stars. Now no longer just a frontier to explore, but a complex neighborhood to navigate. Humanity had announced its presence in the galactic community, not through conquest or submission, but through demonstrating the unique strength that came from embracing both their biological heritage and their technological future. The Novari would be watching, studying, perhaps someday understanding. But for now, they had learned the most important lesson about the curious species from Earth. Humans didn't need to have the strongest technology to prevail. They simply needed to have the strongest resolve. And that, the Novari had discovered, was something their perfectly efficient analysis could neither quantify nor overcome.